All right, we're back doing some more testing of Profane Tutor in Lantern. Just running it through a league and are kind of settled on an Orzhov version. I really like the flexibility of Prismatic Ending. I think it's very good against the aggressive decks, and so then there aren't really any green cards, so just straight white-black is the color combo that I'm going with. I'll have a rough list in the description. Not 100% sure that it's fully tuned, but gonna keep working on it for sure. Our starting hand here, this is game 2 of our league. The first one, we just dumpstered Murktide. Not a super close matchup. Still debating whether or not I'll make a video on it. It wasn't too exciting, but we open a one-lander with Saga. I think this is an easy mulligan. We can't cast Tutor, can't cast Ending. Double Bridge is nice, but just too inconsistent. Now let's talk about why I like to keep this hand here. I think it's a one-lander, but I have full Shredder and Lantern and Bridge, so it requires one land, and I'm able to find the second one, hopefully, between the full lock. So I do elect to keep this one land Saga hand and not the 7-card one. Just I think the presence of Lantern in addition to Shredder really changes it here. And my opponent leads on Aganjo plus Sigarda's Aid. So this is obviously Hammer. Generally speaking, Hammer has been a pretty good matchup. Sometimes they'll just kill you a bit too quickly. Like if they have the turn 2 kill and you kind of draw the wrong half of your disruption, then you're in trouble. But them not playing a creature here is good. Means we'll have time to react. And we draw Glimmer Void, obviously solving our land problems. And I like to play the Lantern here. I think it's just important to get it out, and like we can't Thoughtseize or Pending anyway, but Saga on 2 is usually preferred. A Duress on top is they will have targets. Hammertime, not as many as some decks, so this is maybe one where Inquisition is definitely a bit better than Duress, but I don't think Duress is bad by any stretch here. And they find a Colossus Hammer. So on first kind of thinking they're just going for the Sigarda's Aid. I generally assume that they don't already have a Kaldra in hand, but that's maybe an incorrect assumption. Here we see another land on top. Obviously getting to 3 lands for this bridge should be pretty nice. And we elect to just exile the Sigarda's Aid here. Any of their kind of Ornithopter tricks, anything like that, are going to revolve around Sigarda's Aid, so it's just a card we don't want on the battlefield. And we do mill Surge here. I don't think they have many cards that we care about, and with double hand disruption in hand, we don't really want them to be able to fizzle both of them with kind of one spell, as we do want to be emptying our hand very quickly. They don't, especially pre-board, they don't really have too much that I'm worried about showing up on the top here. So, and yeah, like I said, it's an Amaria's Call. We're fine with them having that. And they just go ahead and activate. They did have Kaldra in hand, but 5 a turn is slow enough here that we're going to be able to beat it pretty effectively. 4 turn clock is just pretty slow. Like Kaldra is a good card if you're playing creatures, but for our purposes, it's pretty fine. We elect to mill Forgeanu. Them equipping at instant speed is a way that they can get around Bridge, so not something we want them to have. And then we elect to play the double disruption. So they don't have lethal on board, so I think we can hold the Bridge for a turn. Often I play Bridge out, but because they're not ready to kill us, I think I just kind of prioritized not taking all their answers from them. So yeah, we just shred their hand here, and from this point they don't have much of anything. Obviously they're going to make a construct, and then they go grab a Shadow Spear. Won't be relevant this game at all. And yeah, from here we basically just play Bridge, and I'll go through it kind of quickly, finish out this game. Obviously we tap out for Bridge. Grab another Shredder. I don't think Pithing Needle does much here. It would be the other card you could name or you could grab. not super relevant in this setting. Just having double shredder is pretty good against Hammertime. Kind of their only extra card draw is like Pure Steel and Esper Sentinel, and both of those are kind of drawing one card at a time as triggers. They don't really have ways of drawing at instant speed, which is very good for us. Here we're going to let our opponent draw with the Esper Sentinel in response to Thoughtseize. Honestly, the Sentinels just make the game go faster. We do see a Mana Tithe. It'll be something to note for the later games, but it's not going to come up here. Yeah, obviously with our hand empty, they don't have any way of getting Ornithopter. The key cards that we will mill are like Sigarda's Aid, Forge Anew, and Ornithopter. Are basically it. Even Ornithopter we could probably let go here, and it wouldn't matter. Urza Saga will mill, but other than that, like game 1, basically we can let them have whatever here. You'll notice obviously waiting till their end step to mill, and then because they don't have any instant speed draw, so we're free to just mill them at their end step, make sure they don't draw anything during their turn. The Pure Steel here, if they cast an equipment and draw one card, it's a triggered ability, and we can respond to it if there's something good on top, and they're just never going to draw anything useful. We look at their deck here with Surgical, just taking the Forge Anew. I'll show you quickly here. Not anything that's like too surprising for Hammertime. You'll notice we did pay for one of the Esper Sentinels just to avoid them getting an Ornithopter in hand. But yeah, looking through it, it's pretty stock. I'm pretty sure this is like stock Hammer. Nothing that I was surprised by in here, and all things were expected to do for game 2 and 3. Kind of what we'd expect against Hammer. And yeah, so they kind of play it out for one more turn. Surge is something we'll mill, but again, we can just wait till their end step. They don't draw many cards, and they don't really have any way of killing us here. And they eventually realize it. Again, you'll notice on time, we're actually up like multiple minutes here. I think just being able to play Lantern quickly online, definitely something that takes a bit of practice to get used to. But once you're able to do it, I don't think the clock is as much of a concern as a lot of people think it is. And they concede here. Yeah, like I said, our first game was less than 5 minutes. So, yeah, the clock is much less of a concern. Hopefully games 2 are just as smooth. As we get into game 2 here, kind of minimal sideboard changes. Just swapped like one card. I think Hammertime is generally pretty good, and I think this hand, this game kind of all starts. I definitely did not play this great. We'll talk to some of my mistakes later. But this hand, I think it's very close. Bit of disruption, Lantern and Bauble. The double Saga is nice. Might be kind of slow. I'm not thrilled that I kept this hand. Definitely think I can do better. You'll see how it goes. It's not really the hand that ends up costing me here in this game, but I think it could have been better. They run out of turn 1 Sentinel. Drawing the Profane Tutor here I think is strong. We'll definitely get to see some of its strength. And we like to lead on Thoughtseize. Because we're slower for bridge, I want to have this disruption. Kind of if they have like a turn 2 hammer or something, I think I want to be able to disrupt it. So just see what they're working with. And then I like to take Ornithopter. I think I probably should have just taken the Pure Steel. My reasoning at the time was kind of when I get bridge down, Ornithopter kills me and Pure Steel doesn't. And I kind of didn't appreciate how fast this kill would be from Hammer. So if I had to go back and redo it, definitely Pure Steel is what comes out here. I think no question. I mean it's tempting, but yeah, I just take the Ornithopter, and then here, so they obviously run out a Stoneforge, and they do grab. What do they grab here? They grab a hammer. Now they are still a couple artifacts away. So I mean, the Mana Tithe is something to play around, but they only have one. Like they only have the hammer that we know about. So even if they play pure steel, they don't quite have metalcraft. Yeah, not totally sold on this. We do elect to crack Bauble here, as we see a surge. We just want a bit more. Like the Bauble wasn't really doing anything on the battlefield here, so just might as well get to the next card. And we draw another land, which obviously puts us in kind of a rough spot. But then we do draw a Shredder. Now I haven't played with Profane Tutor enough. Definitely, if you've played with it more, like let me know what you would have done here. If like maybe we should have suspended Profane Tutor here. I like to just go Lantern plus Shredder here. Yeah, maybe next turn like Profane Tutor this turn, and then play both of them on turn 3 is the way to go. Yeah, just kind of a a couple mistakes are kind of building here. I think as this game was kind of slipping away, but I think that's part of being able to go back and watch these replays. Allows me to kind of go over my mistakes, and then like I think it's just a very valuable exercise, as it allows you to like learn and get a lot better. So they draw a second Stoneforge here, and at this point I'm kind of in chump. If I can like suspend Tutor and get a couple chump blockers with Saga, kind of looking a bit closer to holding on. The Needle is pretty good here, as it shuts down equipping Hammer with Pure Steel, so we don't have to worry about being dead next turn. We do go for the turn 3 Tutor, and maybe it was better to just run out Tutor on turn 2 and then all 3 of these on turn 3. Definitely gotta play with Tutor a bit more. Yeah, so they play Inkmoth here, and kind of punt pretty hard with this Saga trigger. I don't know why, but I totally overlooked Inkmoth just being a card. As you'll see, my plan was, because I was thinking that they could, with Saga, get, because they have another Stoneforge in hand. So my thinking was, with Saga they could get Shadow Spear and then get a Colossus Hammer with their other Shadow Spear, play that Colossus Hammer, and then have a big attacker. So my plan at the time was make a beefy chump blocker, and then get Cookbook, because I was gonna have an extra card in hand. Yeah, when looking back, definitely a questionable play. I just totally overlooked Inkmoth being a card. Yeah, just I was so focused on getting Shadow Spear to give trample, and then just using Cookbook to like soak up enough damage that one hammer plus a Shadow Spear would not kill me with everything attacking. And yeah, just total miss here. They just activate Inkmoth, but activate it twice so that it gets flying. And yeah, it was about here, like when right about their upkeep, I went, oh right, they have Inkmoth, and yeah, total misplay here. But we'll learn, and hopefully like not make these plays in the future. Kind of, I guess you just get so focused on kind of one line that they can take, that obviously the Inkmoth was a way more obvious line. Very clearly should have seen that, but it happens. We'll learn from it. So let's get them back in game 3. All right, for game 3, we open up a hand without bridge, but it has Lantern and 2 Shredders, which is going to be a pretty strong lock, and Needle can definitely slow them down. So we just elect to run out Lantern here, and a Thoughtseize on top should be good. Unfortunately for us, they have Sigarda's Aid plus Ornithopter, so obviously we're going to have to Thoughtseize and hope that there's nothing too good in their hand. The bad news is when we do Thoughtseize here, they have double hammer, and there's basically nothing. So we take one of them, otherwise we're literally dead. We run out the Shredder, but we're just gonna have to shred ourselves here because we are. Sometimes Hammer just has these very fast kills where, if they have one hammer in hand, we're fine. But they have two, and yeah, they just hit us. We're gonna sack Shredder, or use Shredder at our end step. Use Shredder in our upkeep. Crack Lantern, and we don't draw a bridge. So Hammer gets us on turn 3. Kind of unfortunate that punt game 2, but it happens. So we take a tough loss to Hammer, which puts us up to 1-1 in the league. So hopefully the rest of it goes better than this game did. As for video quality, hopefully slowly doing some things based on recommendations and whatnot. Hopefully the mouse clicking was a bit nicer, got a bit of a quieter one of those. As always, if you have any recommendations on kind of what will make the videos better, I haven't been doing this very long, so any advice is great, and would love to hear your suggestions. Look forward to sharing more matches from the league later this week.